Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the show, Born Political. I'm your host, Joe Dela Cruz. We've been following this pattern ever since I started the show. The reason I started it and named it Born Political was to really to investigate who people were. We're so partisan these days, and everyone's fighting. It seems like I just wanted to make sure, no matter what walk of life somebody came from, if they were a Democrat or Republican, that we were going to share their story, who they were. So when you see them in town, they're not the enemy if they're the opposite party. You can actually find out by talking to people that they have a ton in common with each other. My guest tonight has a lot in common with me. I don't know if you ever watched my Facebook Live, but this is my buddy that was in the igloo this year with me. He's actually married to Councilor Franco, but he's more than that. He's the man. He's the baseball guy here in town. We're going to talk a little bit about that, but we're going to find out about who he is. Welcome to my show, Dave Franco. Dave, welcome to the show. How you doing, brother?
Great, man. Thanks for having me.
Good. Great to have you.
Thanks.
Great to have you. So Born Political is about finding out who people are. We do want to talk about Little League, and we're going to get involved because I think they need a little bit of help.
Yeah.
We know if anyone's involved with Little League in any part of the state, we know that numbers are down, and we'll get to that part. But most people that I interview are usually from here. Right, like directly, Groton and New London. Those are all the people I know because I never left. But you're from Connecticut, right? Originally.
I'm from Connecticut. Yeah, I grew up in New Haven.
New Haven.
Yep.
Oh,
so
that's tough,
I don't
tough area.
know. Yeah, I don't know that whole Groton, New London, Mystic thing. So
Who was your rival, being New Haven guy?
So we were West Haven, East Haven, Brantford, all
okay.
those guys. Yeah.
All that was the big fight.
Yeah.
And then family wise, like I say, Born Political, mostly because just trying to get a step where people came from. Were your parents political, or
No.
was it not at all?
Well, my dad, he tried to run. I guess he tried to run for alderman in New Haven.
Yep.
They didn't win.
No. That makes them political a little bit.
But yeah, I guess.
But they weren't talking politics at the house.
Nah, I mean, not until later on after I got out. That's when things
Stuff
started.
happened,
Yeah, it started.
heated up.
Yeah.
It's different now. It seems like every family's talking about politics, but I still don't think that's true because I talked to a lot of people that I would honestly think that they couldn't name who the vice president was if they saw a picture of her or who their senator was, or a lot of people like that. But
that's me.
people are busy. That's you.
That's me. Yeah. I mean, I know the vice president. I know that stuff, but honestly, I try not to get involved in politics as much as I can. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But,
And then did you? So you what high school did you go to?
I went to East Haven High School actually.
East Haven.
Yeah.
A lot of pride there, right?
Oh yeah.
See that I say New London the same way.
Yeah.
So if you graduated from a school that you love, it's like when you say it, you're smiling.
Yeah.
I tell people in New London that gives me street cred around here. East Haven's like little, that's tough.
Yeah.
And then so right after high school, did you go right to college, or did you go?
No, I did not. I didn't go to college. I went to work, and then I was a plumber for a little bit. Did some remodeling.
You were a plumber?
Yeah, for a little while. Yeah.
I might need you.
Yeah, not me. That's why I don't do it anymore.
That's
and
it. So that phone number that will come up later, don't call
call
that.
me for plumbing. No.
All right.
Call me for baseball.
Did you forget, or you just don't want to do
No,
it?
I just won't do it.
Oh.
I do it for myself, and that's it. I don't really want to do it. I just not into it. And then I went to electronics school, and that's where everything else.
Electronic school, like what was?
I went to Connecticut School of Electronics, so I learned
Yep.
all that stuff there, and I got into the computer aspect of life.
Yep. And
Yep.
you're I call you a computer expert because to me, anyone that can turn it on
Is an expert.
becomes an expert. No, I
You're
absolutely.
the guy that reboots it by the monitor.
I reboot it by the monitor. I do. Yeah, I do everything that a tech guy hates. I do that.
Yeah.
But then I rely on people like you at work because that's what we do. We all have our own trade, right?
Well, that's what we're here for.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why you're not going to do plumber.
No, I won't.
You'll help a plumber fix his computer.
I sit there and I still watch the plumbers, but I'm not touching it.
Yeah. So we do have a lot to talk about because the league that you're helping, it's a league that I coached in, that my son played in. The last time that league won District 10 championships, my son was on the team, and it was 30 years before that. So
I see the banners.
The banners,
I
not
see the
many of
banners.
them, and there's a big gap in between. And it's absolutely not all about winning. I'm not the most competitive guy. What makes me happy, and just talking to you, know who you are, is seeing a kid execute something that you taught him.
Yep.
Whether it's a swing of a bat, or it's actually fielding a ball properly and making a throw, or seeing him think ahead of time.
It's the whole development process and how you trained, right? So that's where I come from.
Yep.
Yep.
And I think what happened to the league, and most of it's numbers. So to me, most of it is there's families that have other choices. Baseball to me still is the most the one sport that if you don't have the most gifted physical God-given ability, that you can train yourself to be a starter on a team, that you can work your way towards it. If you're my height and slow like me, you're probably not going to start in a varsity basketball team like I didn't. But I can actually play third base in baseball. You know, get myself in shape, but make sure I'm doing the right plays and know where to go. It's more like chess. And I think because, you know, when the numbers got low and I think parent involvement's down because everyone's busy, you end up with leagues that are small.
And that's what's happening here in Groton.
Yep.
We can't. We're struggling to find quality coaches or coaches at all. You know, volunteers.
Yeah.
The kids. I don't know where they're going. Lacrosse, soccer, wherever that may be, for whatever reason. Baseball's still kind of antiquated, where you have 9 spots and you sub them in and out. Kids
Yep.
don't like to sit and watch,
Yep.
so they go play soccer where they're running around in shifts. You know, they're playing lacrosse.
And the coach can look at you and say you're in.
Right, or
Just like
basketball
in
and
basketball.
and lacrosse, soccer. They're all doing that. They're all doing shifts, so they're all in. You know, where baseball, you're sitting for 6 innings and then, hey.
So are you thinking of changing the game a little bit?
I don't know if it's changing the game, but it's. I think you got to figure out a way to get everybody to have equal playing time at certain levels, right?
Yeah.
So that you have a chance to become a starter on the varsity squad. And I think we did that successfully in travel ball, but bringing it to Little League, I think you break it down 9, 10, 11, 12s.
Yep.
Draft a farm system on the 9 and 10s so that you can bring them up and down to the 11s and 12s.
Yeah.
So that they can see the older way of baseball. But I think everybody needs to have equal amount of playing time at some point so that they can either say, this is for me or this is not for me.
Well, see, for me in New London, I grew up in the 70s. I was in Little League in 1978 or 77. And then right to 82, I played, and then Babe Ruth, and then and a little in high school. But there was competition. We had 16 teams. If you think of this, there were 16 Little League teams, majors, in New London, and we were one league. We were the north side of New London, and the south side of New London had like 12 teams. Still the same amount of people. There might have been a little bit more kids back then. Maybe I think people had a little bit bigger families. But they're all gone. And when I was the tail end here in Groton, because when I got involved in Little League and Joey was 9, there were 8 Little League teams in the Groton town. Groton City had 7 teams. Dalcom had 5 teams.
That was sub-base, right?
Sub-base.
Yeah.
So there were 3 leagues, and I'm only talking 2010. This isn't 100 years ago.
No.
This was, and the parent involvement was big, but I think, the more people you have, the more kids you have, you're going to get those 2 or 3 people that played and coached before. And I think when I talk to you, I think what you're trying to do is make a coach successful first.
Right. So that's the goal, right? So I'm the coach coordinator at the Groton Little League now. So what I do is, because of the stuff that I've learned over the last 20 years and the guys that I've come in contact with and the connections that I've made, I feel like I can bring some value to that. So I want to, guys have time, but they don't know how to coach.
Exactly.
So I figured that's where I could come into play and help those guys become, decent coaches enough to help a kid get to the level he needs to be at.
Yeah. So I coached basketball and baseball, but there was a stint in my career that I was a wrestling coach. And I never wrestled in my career, but I can tell you, if you're a parent out there and you're looking to get involved and learn, finding somebody that can help you teach, because remember, we're teaching 9 to 12-year-olds.
Right.
And a lot of it is very basic. And I think once you get involved and you see a coach that runs a practice properly, you walk away and say, oh my God, why didn't I think of that? And a lot of times that coach that's running it so well, he didn't think of it either.
You just learn it. Yeah, I mean, the thing you don't want is people standing around doing nothing, right?
Yeah.
So you figure out how to break it down into groups or into drills and stations.
Yeah.
So that this way you make everybody's having something to do, right? The problem is parents or they don't have time, or the people that do have time, like I said, don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, especially in baseball too, because that's the one sport. But again, I mean, I play basketball and I coach where I'd watch other coaches. They do these foul shot drills where one guy's shooting and they just rotate. And they do that for a half hour, and you only have the gym for an hour.
So
like
that's the thing. You gotta you break the stations down. My thing is don't overcoach, right? You're not gonna learn baseball overnight.
Yeah.
So you want to just go over the drills every day as much as you can. Do it 15 minutes, 10 minutes. Switch the drill. Go to the next drill. If they don't get it, it's okay. It's okay. They'll get it.
Yeah.
Just they may not get it right now.
Yeah.
And that's the goal, right?
And so you're building the league and working towards it. I know you reached back in because you obviously have a great connection to Fitch High School because your son just went through.
Yep.
And how's your boy doing?
He's doing great, man. He's happy. He's getting bigger. He's learning a lot from. He's playing at Mitchell now, so he's playing for a great coach in Travis. This
Yep.
guy's amazing.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
he's great.
Speaks for himself, right? He just wins. The
And
team.
you call him, so everyone out there is gonna know him as Ant.
No, they still call him Bones.
They call him Bones.
They call him Bones.
Bones Franco.
They still call him Bones.
Yeah.
That's not going anywhere.
That's the Mitchell College name too.
So so that's it. And then so he's getting bigger. He's getting stronger. And he learned so much more baseball going into the college level from the high school level, just in the little bit amount of time that he's been there already. So yeah, he's doing great.
To me, the most amazing thing, and I've coaching at all levels, and even the wrestling. They taught me the few moves that I needed to do, and we were successful at it. Joey ended up winning New England champion.
Just over the
well, because the coach, I was the guy that was like learning and teaching the basics, and then when it came time to get in the real technical side of it, like these guys were world class wrestlers, and it was great to be part of that team. But it all started with the parents.
Yep.
I don't care what league you're a part of. I think when you think of leagues that are traditionally great, I think of Waterford, I think of Mystic. These are the kids aren't different. They're not built different. They're usually eating the same food. They go to the same school. It ends up breaking down to coaching and volunteerism.
It's the culture, right? So basically, I'm trying to change the culture in Groton back to the gold standard it used to be, right? Because you see, like you said, the numbers are declining, and where's that going to go? That's going to they're going to decline right to Fitch, right?
Yep.
So Mystic, Groton, they need to come together somehow and bring those numbers back up. But yeah, the culture in Groton needs to change a little bit so that they understand how baseball works. I don't want to be like Waterford or like East Lyme. I want to be better than them. I want to be. I want to have a great fan base. I want to have a great parent base. I want to have a great player base.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we need people to help, and volunteers is where it's at.
And it happens quick. The funny thing is, everyone talks about how much they love UConn, but when UConn's not winning, no one's in the stands.
Yep.
And people can say, well, it's not about winning, but I think it's not even about winning to me. It's kids getting back in the car on the way home from the field and not sitting there saying, Mom, I hate this. I mean, most of that is how the league is being run. I'm actually pretty, I've been to a couple of Little League meetings, and it was under great leadership the last few years. Jessica Donald, she was doing a great job.
Donnell, yeah.
Yeah, Donnell. And now they have a new, there's a new president, a new group of folks.
Got a whole new board.
But a big board. There's a lot of them.
Yeah, there's
a lot
15
of
us.
15 people on the
15
board.
people on the board, yeah.
I mean, they were talking about not having 15 kids a couple years ago.
Let me tell you something. The numbers they're astounding right now. They're great right now. We feel like we have a good amount of kids ready to go this year.
Yeah.
So we'll have 2 senior league teams. We'll have 2 major league teams. We'll have a bunch of minors and T-balls.
Yeah.
Probably have 7.
I think one of the biggest problems in our country too is people aren't reaching back like they used to. What I mean by reaching back is just if you played baseball in that league, I remember coming back and watching the younger kids play. Oh man, I remember when I was that little. I mean, that happens.
So that's what I brought up at the Little League meetings. I'm like, you got to have something to look up to, right?
Yes.
So the little kids have to say, I want to be like, Joe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you were a senior league or whatever. So and I think
I don't know if anyone ever said that.
Well, I was just using.
I wasn't that athlete. I always, in my mind, I was nasty. I mean, your son, he couldn't hold a candle to my dreams. I turned down the Yankees because I'm a Red Sox fan. I went to pay everyone has those. But I tell you, as I wasn't the greatest baseball player. Basketball was my sport that I loved. But in baseball, I had a couple moments that when I was 9, I still remember.
But those are the memories, right? Those are the memories that are burned in your brain. Little league memories, you know what I mean? You want to make those great, right? You want to make those memories last forever.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to do here right now is just make those memories last forever. And like you say, winning. You got to learn how to win at some point.
You got to learn how to lose.
You got to learn how to lose, right? But you got to learn how to win. But how do you get there? My thing is, I don't look at the W and the L and the loss and the win column. I look at, did we get better?
Yeah.
Are you getting better? That's a win.
Yeah.
Are you getting better? That's a win. And then when it's time to start winning, that's when you can start learning how to win, right? You can, because you're good enough now.
Yeah.
To go out there and have that confidence and say, I know I can go out there and win this game. I can go out there and we can win. We can beat that team. So it's certain age groups.
Yeah, and I still think with baseball, it brings me right back into it because I did the Sandlot League I talked to you about. I was one of the few coaches that once the season ended, I wanted to keep going, but I also wanted to create an environment where kids didn't have to pay $2,000 or $3,000 to pay.
Yep.
And I think that's kind of where you're leaning, where we can keep it local. And let's face it, you're going to coach. There'll be 100,000 kids that play Little League in a group if you just took them, and maybe one or two might sign a minor league contract. Those are the actual
right?
numbers.
And
Those are numbers that are real.
Yep.
You only have so many positions, so why not let them have fun and learn the game?
We have a lot of good guys coming and back, right? Like Mike Evans and those guys. Sean Nader. Those guys are coming
You got
back.
Mike Evans. I mean, you have the right people.
They're the right people, right? The contacts, the connections that we're bringing back to Groton. And that's where I think the numbers will start to shoot up.
Yep.
With seeing those guys getting back involved, right?
Yeah.
Because they're just all about it. I mean, they're ready to go. We're starting a men's league team with those guys as well. So we're going to be playing men's league baseball over at Washington.
Are you going to play?
I will not play.
Me either.
I will not play.
I'll prove. The last time I played, actually, Bruce Flax was the mayor, and he arranged this game because we had 9 counselors, and we might as well go play 9 police officers. The problem is, I was the youngest council member, I'm not going to say the best shape, but the youngest. Let's just say that.
Yep.
It was an ugly game. But Bruce reminded me that actually I think the score on it might have been like 36-1 or whatever it was, but it was horrible. Like I felt like, but still, I got some memories. I made a few good catches.
You see what I'm saying?
I had a couple hits.
Yeah, you brought.
I brought my A game.
You got some memories there.
Yeah. And I think that's what it's all about. And I think we got to remind. I think we kind of lost touch with that. The other thing too that I see is a lot of grandparents, and I talk about this politically on the House floor about how a lot of people spiked the football. They retired from EB at 55 or 59, and they jump on in a car and they're gone. Yeah. They're in Florida, they're wherever.
We're out here.
And I can tell you this much: I'm tribal, and I don't see. Like when Caleb moved to Ledyard, I had a panic attack because I wanted my grandson to play baseball in Groton.
Yeah.
Like that meant a lot to me that we stayed in the towns that we're from or what we recognize, and it was scary to me. I'm like, I don't want people to leave, and a lot of the help we had was grandfathers. And when they're gone, when mom and grandma and grandpa are gone, I mean, and that's happening a lot. It's our society now. I think that's a big miss. It's a help. Like, where my grandfather could have brought me to practice because mom and dad was still at work. That doesn't happen anymore.
No.
And I think that, and I don't know how you fix that as a coach.
So I don't know. I think just lead by example. Look, I have no skin in the game at Little League. My son plays college baseball, so
Yep.
I'm just getting back involved.
Yep.
Right? Because why? Because I have a little bit of knowledge that I can pass on.
Yep.
Maybe someone says, I have some knowledge I can pass on too. I have some time to kill. Maybe I can come help out. Maybe that's how it works out.
How many volunteers are you looking for?
So
All of them?
nah.
Whoever wants.
Yeah, as many as we can.
Yep.
As many as we can, really. I mean, there's a lot to be done. There's a lot of fields over there, and there's a lot of teams that need assistant help, right? So we've isolated down to the managers, right? We have all our managers, but we don't know who can help assist, right? Because you can't run a practice by yourself, right?
No.
The blueprint we're going to write up for them, right? We're going
Yep.
to teach them how to coach. We're going to give them a blueprint. We're going to write practice plans.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, you need 3-4 guys out there helping.
Yep.
So if you have 2 major league teams, you're going to need 6 more guys. You got two senior league teams. I'm going to need 6 more. So there's 12 right there, right?
Yeah, and we're actually in a community too. I think, and people forget all the time that we are a military community.
Right.
And sometimes mom or dad, one of the 2 spouses who normally would be around, isn't, and it makes it difficult on the parent that's left behind to get 2 kids to 2 different practices or to. And there's a trust factor, right? I mean, I think if you lived in Nebraska your whole life and now you end up on the East Coast and you're a young family, I don't know who Dave Franco is, and I like you.
And that's why
And
that's why what we did with our clinic was we have an ex-pro guy, Jay Gramansky. He played AAA Red Sox. Mike Evans, very well-known Groton guy. Sean Nader, very well-known Groton guy. I didn't push my name; we pushed their names.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're the guys that.
Hold on, you were in this very extremely popular video in an igloo Eating scallops with somebody. I think everyone knows who you are now.
I was definitely in the videos. Yeah.
I'm talking about my video again. Our video. I think
it is our video.
We have over 800 hits, man. We were like,
is that where we're at now?
Oh wait, that was like in 2 days. It went crazy. It blew up. Everybody likes scallops and cigars.
I mean, can't beat that.
No, you can't.
You can't beat that.
So if you say you have the volunteers and you right now and the league's in a position where more kids have signed up. You're saying,
So we had a big flood of guys signing up late. So yeah.
Okay.
So we're looking like the numbers are starting to increase a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. And how many teams do you think you'll be able to field this year? I know last year I think they were down to 2 teams.
So
right?
We could probably get 3 major teams, but we may break that down to skill level. Right, so we may break it down to 9, 10s, 11, 12s. So we're going to try to keep 2 major teams, 2 senior league teams, and then you have your minors and T-ball, right?
Yeah.
So we'll probably be at that.
And what's tough about rebuilding a league is I guess it's rebuilding a team even at the pro level is hard. No matter where you at or what time of or what position or age group, if you're starting off with a whole new system, it's going to be rough. And I think most of the kids will learn. They say better competition, better results. Even though you get hit pretty bad, trying to cross town lines now with a brand new league, it's going to be tough. I've seen it. I've seen other towns go through it.
Yep.
I went through it myself. You just have to pick and choose, I think, what you can do and how far you can go.
And that's the thing about baseball is everybody wants immediate success, like we were talking about earlier. And you know what? It's going to take a little while to get really good, but people start coming when you're good, right? And I think we have that. I think we have the foundation now to build good, right? I think we have the foundation to, like, we had a great winter. Like, we had a good turnout for winter clinic.
Yeah.
We did a lot of hitting. We did a lot of fielding. We did a lot of indoor drills where, these guys, the clinic, they built an indoor practice plan so that it simulates what we do outside. Yep. So this way, when they get outside, they already know what they need to do. We just now it's just distance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that was good. So I think we're going to see right away. I think we're going to see a lot of guys a lot better than they were last year.
Good.
And then we'll build on that. Over the spring and
hitting. I love the concentration on hitting. You have to concentrate on hitting in the winter because you don't really have the space for the other stuff.
Right.
But in the end, hitting is such a very little part of the game because you play a whole season. You got up 3 times a game, and you played 20 games. You might be there 60 times. But you're standing in the field an awful long time, and you're making all these plays out there, and you're always having to think. But if you're not successful at hitting, and that was my issue, I got baseball was tough for me, and I suffered from bad coaching. And I think I've seen some coaches. I've walked up on other guys who are absolutely volunteering their time, and you don't want to offend anybody because they're there and they're volunteers. Right. But I do ask folks if they get involved, because the worst thing you can do as a coach is give someone bad instruction.
What do you think about
no instruction is better than bad instruction.
Right. When we were kids, we were taught everything wrong, right?
So a lot.
Everything was wrong. But now, you look at, I think you're right, though. A lot of guys are fearful of trying to help because sometimes they don't know, right? I don't know everything, but I know enough.
Yeah.
I know a lot. I know that what I don't know, I just, I'll ask the guys that do know, or they'll come out and help. But I think you're right there, though. So if you don't know what you're doing, just ask.
Well, I mean, some of the things and this is not to hit on the guy, because I think, I commend anyone when I go by a field and I see someone out there by themselves and there's 12 kids. I'm like, I was there. I understand it. I had enough knowledge to be able to run 12 kids by myself, not effectively, but enough where I could get a decent practice in. But not like you had 4 people that was skilled and on point. But then I come back after we left that league, and that immediately, like I said, the league was pretty good, where we had 8, and we talked about all the teams. The year I left, they dropped 2 teams just because the numbers went down.
Right.
And it was 5 teams. And when I came in and watched just some of the basic things about the coaching, where, the old-fashioned baseball warm-up and practice where the coach throws the ball up and hits it, and if the outfield's not involved, they're just sitting out there it could be a half hour.
Yeah, so you that's the thing. You got to plan that, right? So you got to plan your infield, outfield accordingly, so that it gets everybody involved. So that's how you simulate. Yeah. Right. You simulate where you're going to hit the ball and where you got to cut to.
You shorten the field.
Yeah. So basically, you do your IO, you get that done, and then that's all stuff you do afterwards. But you want to go through your drill stations, make sure that It's all reps. Everything's repetition. It gets boring,
Yeah.
and that's why you don't overcoach. You don't overplay the drill station. You got to do 5-10 minutes tops. Move on.
Yeah.
You know,
Kids get bored.
They'll get bored.
Yeah.
They'll get bored. But I feel like we're going to be competitive. I think we'll be competitive this year. I think
Yeah.
we built a pretty strong foundation over the winter
Yeah.
that we can compete. I mean, we have a lot of guys now signing up for the senior league, so that wouldn't have. You know, we're trying to. What I really want to do is keep everything in house again.
Yeah.
Because everything started trickling away.
Yeah.
Going travel ball, going. You know, Legion's kind of gone too, which you kind of want to try to bring back, but for the older kids.
Yeah.
But we want to try and bring everything back in house, make it so that they're going right from little league to senior league to high school, and
I thought travel ball was one of the biggest weights that I recognized early on. So once the league went down to 5 teams, all of a sudden there were parents that were saying, I don't want my kid in this league because he could be X, Y, and Z. And what I remind people is it's got to be fun. Like, again, you're going to get to a level where you're going to find out if your kid wants to go play 60 games in the summer because he loves it.
Yep.
Or if he's playing 60 games because he thinks he's going to be a pro one day. And those are two different things.
Right. There's a need for everything, right? There's
There
a need
is,
for travel.
absolutely.
There's a need for travel. But there's also you can also simulate that
Yeah.
in house,
Yeah.
right? With the right guys.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you want to do that? And why wouldn't you want to play here, learn the whole system of the Groton system, the Fitch system, and then be able to just get on the field and go do your thing.
And what COVID, I think, taught us this past year is, if you can stick close to home, a lot of people want to now.
Yeah.
They don't want to be traveling, all over the place. If you can do that and you have a good system where you're happy with the league that you're in, I think the league's just going to grow. I got all the confidence in the world. I mean, I'm feeling good about the league. I know Mike. I know all the guys.
This whole district has amazing baseball, right? I mean,
it does.
Our whole area, southeastern Connecticut, great baseball. I mean, your Waterford, you got your East Lyme, you got your Montville. You have all that.
Don't forget New London, man.
You got New London. You got New London. I do forget New London.
Yeah.
But you have great baseball right here.
Yeah.
You can travel. You can.
Yeah.
But we can build right here. We can build on right back to where it used to be.
And long term, I know you talk. We only got a minute left but long term, hopefully, I know your wife being on the council, a lot what drives you guys are sports and youth, and hopefully we can get some more ball diamonds out there.
So
right?
yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because we don't have enough baseball
enough fields.
There's just not enough.
Yeah.
There's not enough. You need complexes. You need something so where the guys are going to be able to go and get better, right? You'd be proud to play there.
Yeah.
You want to.
And we're already out of time, man.
Wow,
Minute, like I told you,
Wow.
I don't even ask. Normally, I plan a couple questions in my head because I'm, make sure if it gets any dead time. But my passion for baseball and coaching is completely outmatched by where you are.
We may need to do a part 2.
We may need to do part 2.
I'll do a part 2.
Part 2's coming, man.
I'll do a part 2 if you want to do a part 2.
Absolutely.
All right.
We definitely will. Because I think there's a lot more to do. But before you go, his name's been up. His number is up there, Dave Franco. If you have a child that is age appropriate, and what is it? What are you guys doing? 8 to 12?
So it's T-ball. So they could come in at like 4.
Oh, 4.
4, 5 years old. 5 years old, yeah, T-ball.
4 or 5 years old.
Yeah.
So you guys heard it here live. And all the names, if you didn't recognize them, I can tell you this. These are top baseball players of all time at Fitch. I'm Joe Delacruz. This is Born Political. We'll see you next Thursday. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks, man.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, brother. Fun, right?
Yeah, it was great. That was fun.